basement of La Penta. This is WICR.
Hello, Iona College. You are back with Lights Out Sports. We are now in our last segment. Guys, today, NFL free agency signings. Armand, you're a huge Dolphins fan. Ndamukong Suh signing with the Dolphins. What do you think about that?
All right, in every signing, there's positives, and then there's negatives. A positive here is the Dolphins last year were the 24th ranked best defense against the run, which is not very good. Now, with the signing of Ndamukong Suh, who came from the first best defense against the run, now that's going to speak vital because now you have a solid defensive line. You have Jared Odrick, who's registered over 18 sacks over the past 2 seasons, so it's about 9 a year, along with Cameron Wake, arguably one of the best defensive linemen in football. And now you put Ndamukong Suh along with Earl Mitchell in that 4-3 front seven. That's a good pickup. But now the negative coming in here is Ndamukong Suh is getting $61 million over 3 years for a defensive player. I mean, Ndamukong Suh, he better make sure the Dolphins are in the top 5 defensive run next year against the run because he's drained their cap space. Now they don't even have anything. They don't even have that much room to go after any of these other big contract players because before this big sign, the Dolphins had a lot of space. They had a lot of leeway to make room for big players. Mm-hmm. And now they don't. I mean, they would have to. I mean, they could get rid of Mike Wallace and Charles Clay, who are both making pretty hefty contracts. But I think Michael Wallace is going to stay. He's talked it over with the Dolphin organization. But Charles Clay might go, so that might bring us more room in the cap space. To go after like an Andre Johnson or whoever else is out there. I mean, Revis is too much money, but there's other players out there where the Dolphins are struggling, especially in the secondary. They released Cortland Finnegan. They need another corner. They need another safety alongside Rashad Jones. So there's room for improvement. But overall, I guess Ndamukong Suh was a positive. But too much money, though. It's way too much money.
See, I dislike this move because I'm a Jets fan, so I strongly dislike it. But I think he's a great signing. He's going to be great for that defense. We look at the field with the Buffalo Bills. They're going to be a ground and pound team, and he's going to be able to shut them down. They have that defense now, but we look at the cap space that they use for him. They could have gone after probably another backup quarterback. I don't like Ryan Tannehill.
Yeah, but the Dolphin organization loves him. I agree with you, Rob. I agree with you. He had 3 opportunities. He's settled for mediocrity every year. 7-9, 8-8, 8-8. He's never got over the hump, and usually the third season's the last shot for a first-round drafted quarterback. Mm-hmm. And the Dolphins are giving him looks like one more year. Yeah. This is it, Rob.
And I mean, he shows upside every year. He shows upside, and then he falls. I could say it as a Jets fan because at the end of the year, we're always beating them when they have the chance to make the playoffs. Yeah. And that's one of the biggest issues.
Same thing with the Bills.
I mean, we look at with the Dolphins, Armand, if they didn't give out that much money, what they could have brought in. I mean, we look at wide receiver sets. They have Mike Wallace. I love Mike Wallace. I think he's one of the best wide receivers in the NFL. I mean, you could have gone to probably go out, get a Randall Cobb. I mean, he's stuck with Green Bay, though.
I mean, Hartline's fine. Every year, Hartline's one of those fantasy sleepers. I mean, Hartline's not a bad player.
Mm-hmm. But, I mean, you could have surrounded
I want a slot receiver, if that's what you're saying. I really need a slot receiver.
Even the running game, though, too.
Oh.
Moreno goes down with that injury last season. You had a lot of decent running backs out there this year. Frank Gore. I mean...
Well, no, Miller's not that bad, Rob.
But...
I do think before you went on this tangent, you said, with your opening sentence, you said something about how Ndamukong Suh, like how you don't like him because he stops the run and everything. And I think when it comes to what the Dolphins, they're critical thinking about this whole, signing, is in the AFC East, the Bills like to ground and pound. The Jets love to ground and pound. So maybe they're thinking for the long haul here how you're going to stop these run teams. I mean, even the Patriots like to run. I mean, Brady likes to throw his yards, but Brady's he's comfortable with letting that back court of runners run. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, now I throw you this question. I'll open up about it first. With these signings, and then we look at the Jets trade with Brandon Marshall. Mm-hmm. They might draft Mariota in the draft. They might get Nick Foles in a trade with the Eagles. the AFC East I put down right now as the best division in the NFL right now, hands down.
I don't know about the NFL, but I definitely think it's the most improved division. I'll give you that. And I would say it's definitely the front runner for the best division in the AFC.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
I mean, I'm going to stick with best division in the NFL right now. I mean,
All right.
This is the best I've seen the Dolphins right now with defense. The Jets are finally making moves. Brandon Marshall, we finally have a number 1 receiver since Keyshawn Johnson. Now, if you remember Keyshawn Johnson, that's late 90s Keyshawn Johnson. Okay, so for me as a Jets fan, going through all that suffering and now getting Marshall, I think that's a perfect fit. We're probably going to look at other defenders, try to bring back Revis. New England, I'm never counting New England out. They're always a playoff team. As long as Tom Brady is on that roster and as long as Bill Belichick is coaching there, that team will always be competitive. And Buffalo, I mean, Rex Ryan, yeah, you know what? Buffalo's already had a great defense. He's going to improve them even more. He has the running game now with LeSean McCoy, but you still have to argue with his quarterback game because that quarterback situation, we saw what he had with the Jets with Mark Sanchez, Geno Smith. They never progressed the way they were supposed to. Mark Sanchez progressed his first 2 years and slowly went on that decline. Geno Smith was just a disaster from the making. And now with Buffalo, E.J. Manuel was that big signing that they got in the draft and never panned out. I mean, they didn't give him that much of a chance last year before going to Kyle Orton. But this Buffalo team is still weak at that quarterback slot. And I think that's one slot they need to fulfill this year if they want to be really competitive.
Absolutely. I mean, Buffalo used a lot of money on Jerry Hughes. They gave him a big contract too, so they're trying to improve defensively as well, and they have a great defensive crew, as their statistics said last year. But, I mean, as you said before, this is the best you've seen Miami's defense in a while. I happen to agree with you. Almost I agree with you. But they need another corner. They're stacked everywhere else but the corner position. They have Brett Grimes, who's top 5 best corners in the league, 100%. He's very undervalued, very underlooked. But they need to get another corner. And maybe Revis is demanding too much money, but there's other corners out there. There are, and that's the last piece that they need. Yeah. I think with the first pick that they're going to take in the draft is going to be Devontae Parker of Louisville. If not, there's a couple good corners you can go after. You got P.J. Williams out of Florida State. There's good corners. So maybe if it's either wide receiver or corner, that's why I want Miami to draft.
Yeah.
But, you know, they always prove me wrong. They go for an offensive lineman. Every year, Miami's boring in the draft. Every year.
I mean, with this division, though, too, Armand, I mean, we'll throw that in. Every team is awesome defensively. The offenses are not top 3.
Nope.
And I'll put it this way. If you're not the 1985 Chicago Bears, you're not winning on just defense. The 1985 Bears were a team that could just purely win on defense because they were unstoppable, didn't allow points per game. These teams in the AFC need to start finding more weapons.
Well, no, the 2014 Seahawks were the only other team that could be compared to them.
The 85 Bears are better than the 2014
I don't know about
Seahawks.
that. 2014 Seahawks were amazing.
The 85 Bears left.
They beat Peyton Manning 44-8.
Okay, the 1985 Bears left the New England Patriots with negative yardage in the first half in the Super Bowl when they played them.
I understand that, but you can't say that the Seahawks can be compared to the Bears. The Seahawks.
The Bears team is better than the Seahawks.
What do you think, Terrence?
I have no idea about the 1985 Chicago Bears. I'll tell you that for a fact. I have no clue about the defense about the 1985 Chicago Bears.
All right, Terrence, let me add. You watch football, right, Terrence? So now, arguably the greatest quarterback to ever play is Peyton Manning, right? Is he not one of the best quarterbacks of all time?
He's one of the best.
Now, if you're capable, if you beat Peyton Manning 44-8, doesn't that speak loudly?
It does speak kind of loudly.
So wouldn't you rank that up there as one of the best Super Bowl teams of all time, defensively speaking?
Exactly. Like it's Peyton Manning. Like you look at it, because Peyton Manning, would you put him up there with Joe Montana?
I wouldn't personally. But like regular season wise, yes, he's better than Joe Montana. He's better than all of them. But career wise, no, because of his lack of playoff production. He's subpar 500 in the playoffs.
I mean, it's not like like beating Tom Brady 44-8 though.
No, yes, that's different. But I'm just saying, you beat Peyton Manning, one of the best we've ever seen in the history of the game. So them and the Bears and maybe the Steel Curtain are probably the best defenses we've ever seen. Can't forget about the Steel Curtain.
All right, it's 12:52 at this point. Let's just throw one more free agent into this mix now, guys. Gore signing with the Indianapolis Colts today. What do you guys think of that move? I mean, he was going to sign with the Eagles, and then it really surprised me to see him backing out. I mean, he's up there in age, 10-year veteran, gets over 1,000 yards, really knows how to work the ball down the field, get down. But, I mean, Indianapolis, are they getting him now at a bad point where he's at the end of his career where he's not going to be that balanced guy who's going to pick up 1,000 yards? Because that's what Indianapolis needs, besides the fact that they need a whole defense. They need a balanced running back. And, I mean, Gore's a great signing for them, but he's just up there in age. I mean, you throw him in that set with Bradshaw, yeah, they're going to work out great, but Gore is an older guy.
I mean, we should ask the Cole fan over there, but I would definitely say from his experience in playing in the toughest division of football when it comes to against the run, playing against the Cardinals every year, playing against even the Rams, a very underrated defense, and playing against the powerhouse Seahawks, he's going to go into the AFC South, and he's going to dominate because you're playing against a defense like the Jaguars and who's the other team out there? The Titans, who could barely finish with more than 3 wins a season. I mean, they should have brought back Vince Young, but that's a whole nother story. I mean, the Texans are the only team that you could be scared of, defensively speaking. So Frank Gore, yes, father age in football is a whole different story when it comes to a running back because that takes a toll on you. But I think he's going to have a 1,000-yard year, Rob. I think he was a great pickup.
Okay.
I think he was a great pickup, too. He's rushed for more than 1,000 yards in 4 consecutive seasons. And no offense, Ahmad Bradshaw and Trent Richardson, but they just
no, you don't even have to throw Trent Richardson.
Well, no,
okay, Trent has no idea what he's doing.
Exactly, like, they're not going to get the job done. And that's what Indianapolis Colts need. They need a running game. Mm-hmm. Like, that's what they needed, too. I think that was a great pickup. I don't care about Father Time, whatever it says, but, like, that was a great pickup, though. I think it's going to actually rush for more than 1,000. There's actually people that say, they think that Frank Gore is going to rush for 721 yards this season, though.
It's still not that bad.
It's not that bad, but...
Well, because, me and Rob met remember, Rob, when we met the offensive coordinator? He was playing catch with the little kid on the sideline. He was a really cool guy. But, no, he has a good system, offensively speaking, out there for the Colts. And, yes, Trent Richardson's a pretty good backup. Ahmad Bradshaw's a good backup. Now, they'll package those running backs. They'll have, Frank Gore will be in there on the 3rd and 2. Like, he'll be the ground pound guy. They're going to use Bradshaw in the flex, for screen passes, dump off passes. So they got his role for a reason, to be that back in a situation where they need that yard.
Mm-hmm. All right, Iona College, that is it for our football segment. For Lights Out Sports, you can listen to us every Tuesday at 12 o'clock. I'm your host, Rob Boncardo.
I'm Terrence Taylor.
And I'm Armand Madio. Peace.
Yeah.